Hi, Master Builder Alec here. I love Lego, obviously, but I also like epic fantasy stuff, like dragons, big swords, kings and goblins, and Viggo Mortensen, stuff like that. Which is why when I received this letter, I knew I had to build it. This is from William, and he has drawn a pretty epic scene. And William has asked me to build a warrior, cool, pulling out a Lego sword, awesome, from the top of a crystal mountain. Absolutely radical. I also love this little detail that the top of the sword is a teeny tiny little Lego brick. I want 3 seasons in a movie to show me the story that led up to this epic moment, but I am not a Hollywood producer, so a Lego model will have to do. Let's build it. So let's start with our warrior, who is just a yellow dude. And I love that it's just kind of a yellow dude because it lets us really focus on the bricks, the form, the technique that we're using to make him. This seems like the perfect thing to overcomplicate. Though we don't have to overcomplicate the head. It's just kind of a 2x2 plate with a couple of curves on top to make his shiny little dome. A jumper on the underside to be a chin, and a little stud in the middle to be the neck. And now we can bring in the overcomplication. Because I want to give this little Lego guy a superpower called articulation. Articulation is just movement. Like this little dragon can move their arm, their mouth, and their wing, and we'd say that the points where this movement happens are articulated. Oh, the tail too. The tail can move too. So much articulation. I love these dragons. Are these the greatest Lego animals ever made? I'd say they're my personal goat. Ironically, the goats themselves are in second place. What was I talking about? Articulation!
Movement.
So we're gonna attach 2 little brackets to this 2x2 brick, put a jumper in the middle, and that'll give us a connection point to add the head. Technically, this is a point of articulation, but we're gonna do better by adding a jumper to each shoulder, onto which we're gonna put a little clip, and then we're gonna use these bars and clips. This is a great way to make arms because we can put this little clip into here, make another one of those, click them together, and then what's that? It's an elbow. And then we can pop this on the shoulder, and with those pieces combined, the arm can move this way. It can move this way. It can move this way. Articulation. I don't like that this part is thinner than this part, so we're gonna put one of these hollow studs on it, just to kind of even out the whole arm. Build the same on the other side, and we're looking good. Let's add some ribs, and then we're gonna get a whole bunch of articulation in the hips by putting a bracket right here, and I put a little jumper on top of that, onto which we're gonna put one of these guys, and I'm sorry it's not yellow. I don't have this piece in yellow. I tried it a few different ways, and this is just the best one, so we're going with it, and anyway, we're covering most of it up. And then we'll put another one of these little clip rods into this snot brick with a couple of plates, and then click that together right there. These are gonna be the hips, and now we can move this way and this way. But also, we can get a slight tilt in here because this little white piece is freely sitting on just one stud. And that side-to-side motion is gonna make it way easier for our warrior to snowboard, which I'm sure will be a crucial plot point in the television series we're making. I've added some bars here, again, attached by just one stud, meaning that they can move up and down. And then we're gonna put 2 clips on a little bracket, slide a plate with a bar on it underneath, and then round that out to make a thigh. 2 more smaller brackets and a stud, along with another clip, give us the, what's this called? Foreleg? Calf. With this little connection point acting as the knee. Another little clip with another one of these, and a cheese wedge, give us the foot, which can go back and side to side. Build another leg the exact same way, and our... Oh no, he's fine. Our articulated warrior is done. That is the one thing. With these single connection points, we can get a lot of cool articulation in here, but it is a little more fragile. He's a mighty warrior, but he does crumble. His Achilles heel is all of his joints. But just look at that articulation. He can do this. He can do this. He can do this too. So now that we've got our articulated warrior, we need to build him a sword. But the fact that he does just have clips for hands means he is compatible with a minifigure accessories. Let's just see what this looks like real quick. Give him a shield over here. Not super intimidating. And this sword isn't even worthy of him. He's climbed the crystal mountain. Our warrior deserves the Lego sword. So let's start with a 1x6 tile with a rounded 1x4 on the bottom. And the reason we're doing rounded is so that we can put a little rounded tile up here to be the top plate. And then a little bracket in the color of our hilt. Put 2 curves on either side of a 1x3 plate. Pop that right there. Some more studs. Add a handle with a bar that he can clip onto. And of course, this is the Lego sword, so we need a little exposed stud on the bottom. Now that's a blade worthy of our warrior. Here you go. He's magnificent. Let's make it 5 seasons and 2 movies. So now that we've got our warrior and his sword, we need to make the mountain for him to pull it from. And we have a few elements we want to include here. The crystals on the side, the tree, this waterfall, the little pool, but all of those need to fit within this big domed rock. And we start mapping that out by building a footprint, which is the very base layer of our mountain. And then as we add layers, we're carving out areas to add those elements. So here's a spot for the water to go. There's a little niche here to start putting the waterfall in, and then we're gonna leave a lot of this flat to add the crystals. I just kind of design these as I build them. I don't do any pre-planning. So leaving these little spaces to add other elements is my way of saying future Alec will deal with this. It's also helpful to only focus on one element of the build at a time. So here's our sculptural mountain that we can add all those elements to, and there is a little hole in the top to put the sword in. And now that it's done, I will say the scale is a little bit off with our warrior figure, especially when compared to the picture, but I think with the posability of this guy, we'll be able to have him standing on top of this in a really cool way. And maybe this tree will just kind of become a bush instead. Sometimes the plans change, and that's fine.
It's fine.
We gotta stay flexible when designing, just like this guy. So flexible. Downward dog. That's the only yoga pose I know. Now we can grab our handy box of crystal pieces, AKA transparent brick, build on a vein of crystals starting on that platform we gave ourselves earlier, and we'll build on 2 more colors to match the 3 crystals in William's drawing. Next, we need to build the waterfall. And there's a few different ways that we can do this. For example, in Miniland, we use transparent studs to represent water. And we could use that same technique here, but we're already using transparent for the crystals. So instead, we line a bunch of snot bricks right here and cover them with teal tiles. This is gonna give a nice contrast to the transparent brick here. I think that really pops. We can fill out the rest of the water using tile and then create a little burst of foam at the bottom with just a real hodgepodge of pieces. This little curved piece up top makes it look like the water is coming over the rocks. And then a super small detail that we can add is using this little corner tile here. And that kind of makes it look like the water is flowing out of the rock. It's a very minor detail, but a bunch of these minor details add up to make something that looks just more realistic. Now, all that realism does go out the window as soon as you put our warrior right next to the mountain, and they're the same height, but it's fine. I've come to terms with it. I think this is a giant. The yellow titan looms over the crystal mountain. That is not the sun. It's a really big dude. That's actually rad. I'm back on board. We'll add some little touches of green to either side here. Our model's really starting to look like our inspiration drawing. We just need to add a little tree and a crystal over here. The way I describe my process for building trees is make a strange, twisty brown structure and then try to find a way to add green to it. So using a bunch of these rods at connection points lets us turn this little stud in any direction we want. And then we can use a bunch of round green plates to just start organically adding leaves to it. And these can kind of go anywhere. That's just the joy of building. There's no wrong way to do it. Maybe a couple on the bottom here. That's nice. And now we have a happy little tree. And now that we're done channeling our inner Bob Ross, we can just pop it on the mountain and that looks great. But still the Sun Titan looms because it's time to add him to the mountain. We'll pop our sword in the mountain and then perform the somewhat delicate task of trying to position this terrifying Sun Titan on top. For being as large as a mountain, he's honestly kind of fragile. All right, after some Master Builder level finagling, I think I got it to a pretty cool pose. Our yellow Sun Titan has ascended the crystal mountain, crossed rivers and waterfalls and valleys, and is about to pull the sword from the stone. Pretty epic. And taking a look at it side by side with William's drawing, I think we have captured the spirit of the drawing pretty well here. But there's one more thing we can do to elevate this build even further. William has created an epic scene here. The composition is really cool. There's a subject, there's stuff supporting that subject, and it's like a self-contained little story. And that's very similar to a painting. It's a self-contained image, and the way that you contain it with a painting is a frame. And the way that we would frame a 3-dimensional Lego model like this is to take some large black plates and to put them on the bottom. We put those all the way around our scene to create a border. Add some more plates to increase the height of that until it's level with the rest of the build. And then add one more layer of smooth tile to cover up the studs. And then I usually leave the corner stud open and put a little pop of color there that references something in the build, in this case, the Sun Titan. Now we have a little border all the way around our build. And I think that helps to visually signal that this build is its own self-contained story. It's a very subtle thing, but I do think it adds quite a bit. And with that, our model is finished. Thank you, William, for the awesome piece of inspiration. I'm super happy with how this model came out, and we can all only hope that the Sun Titan uses his new sword powers for good. We'll see. Bye!